All right, I think we're live now. I have a new setup. It doesn't look new to y'all. It just looks, it's new to me. I have a new desk that all of my team is very aware of. I'm very proud of it. It goes from floor to sit to stand, but it means I had to, everything behind the scenes right here, I had to redo because you are on the desk right now. You don't know it, but you're looking at me right above my monitor, and all of it's connected to my desk. And this is all revamped as of a day ago. So, hello, Mom. Hey, Kelly. Glad the team's on board. A team. Okay, so I have headphones because I have I now officially have a coworker here at my office, aka house, and that coworker is 8 years old and on summer vacation. So I have headphones to help me not get distracted during. My new setup means that if I hit the table, I shake y'all. So I will try really hard not to hit the table and shake you to oblivion. There is no earthquake happening anywhere I am aware of. So I will try not to do that. That is the one downfall of having it all in one setup. But it's very convenient and it looks really pretty. Too bad I can't. I mean, I could probably show you, but I don't trust myself to do it correctly, so it's fine. Oh yeah, I look like a gamer right now. Golly, my lights, my headphones. That's right. I am just the pro gamer. But no, I am Tracy Lenz. I am a petroleum engineer. I'm the owner of Pecan Tree. We are an appraisal company, engineering firm based in Texas, but we do the whole U.S. We have a team of 6 right now, and we are launching. We have launched pecanestimate.com, which is a way for you, the viewer watching this right now, to go to our website and see what we're valuing your minerals at. All you have to know is what you own and where it is, and you can pop in, and it's just like Zillow, where you can get basically a Zillow's estimate, but for your oil and gas minerals. So we have launched that about 2 years ago now, and are continuing to expand it. Have some neat features coming out this summer, like early summer. I'm not saying a date yet because, you know how development goes. So, but early summer, we'll be doing probably using the same time slot to do a live premiere of what that feature is. It's Pecan Portfolio for y'all who have access to it right now. It is live enough to where if you want access, you can ask us and we can give you the details on, what we're pricing it at and what it includes, but we're still working on the marketing materials. And so it's, we're done with most of the beta testing, and now we're just working on rolling it out and having the hard launch. So we're real excited about it. We do also have our appraisal services and our Pecan estimates and all the things. So yeah, that's with that. We do a Friday office hours in order to give people a space that they can ask questions and get things answered. Also, I like making these videos, but I kind of started running out of time, and so this combines several efforts into one. Still lets me make the videos, but also lets me answer questions and also lets me talk to y'all. So I did not put any advertisement at all about this live anywhere except for when I posted that it was going to happen, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours ago. So I don't expect there to be a lot of people on today, but I do have some questions that are lined up ahead of time that we'll hit. And maybe with the low numbers, I'll test out some of my new graphics that I've been having fun playing with. So with that, unfortunately, my new graphics are my new news setup, and I hit news last week, so I don't want to redo the news. But look at this. Ready? Look at that. I'm a news broadcaster now. The top, definitely the #1 news reporter on this channel. So you heard it here first. But yeah, when we hit news, and this is going to be our first question. So this is a question that was sent in last week, but it was, I thought it was covered, and I was looking at it more, and I don't actually think it was covered as well as I would want to cover it. So that's one of the questions, along with some other things we got in. So we'll be hitting these. Oh, there's a kiddo wandering this way. But, okay. All right, let's see if all the notifications can happen all at once. Let's turn the phone to focus mode. Do not disturb. Bye. Okay. So I did save a news story that I saw, but it's pretty much the same story as before, and I don't really want to belabor the same things over and over again. I think I just took a screenshot, so I'm not even as prepared as I would want to be on it. Same story as before. It was the Wall Street Journal saying that U.S. drillers say peak shale has arrived. And I'm going to go back to here because the thing on the screen has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Wall Street Journal says U.S. Peak shale has arrived. Lower oil prices are expected to precipitate a decrease in crude oil output that won't easily be reversed. So that's the same thing that we've been talking about the last couple weeks, that it's just a very big ship to turn around once you start having indications of lower commodity prices. It just puts everything into motion to reduce the amount of drilling and rigs and all that stuff. And then it gets really hard to come back from that. And ultimately, a shortage of supply leads to increased prices, which then causes the cycle to happen all over again. So, fun. Enverus is up for sale again, and it looks like they're targeting $6 billion. So that's kind of fun to see, especially as a fellow oil and gas software company. It's always interesting to watch what others are going for and doing. We'll be monitoring that one. Right, we'll go ahead and hit the questions. Do this one. Oh, you cannot see me. I will fix that. There I am. Okay, and then I will make chat a little bigger. Okay. So if we start getting more chat, eventually that will go over my face, but that's fine. Okay. Now, how do we know if an operator is currently drilling on new horizontal wells? I'm watching app.welldatabase.com, but they updated their system where I'm not really seeing much drilling info, depth, etc. It appears they started on all of these wells, but with current pricing of West Texas Intermediate, so that's oil, like commodity pricing, it's likely that COG will continue with the drilling of is it likely that they'll continue with the drilling of the following horizontal wells in this area? And then the person lists these drill idle wells and gives us, the operator. This is a larger operator, so I'm aware of this operator here. Now, how do we know if they're currently drilling what they're currently doing? So there's a couple different ways. So selfishly, we do have our site, which we are aggregating data, and we're currently utilizing Well Database to pull in their data and present some of it for our dashboards, but also we do provide a link to the public resources to get to these things. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up, I have my map closed, so we will go to, I should be showing off our software, huh? Let's see, we'll go to, these are on the fly answers, by the way, and my ill-preparedness will really reiterate how on the fly these answers are. So if we go to, well, what I'm doing is I'm pulling up our site just to get to a map. Now you can also, these are Texas wells. Now I know they're Texas wells, even though specifically he doesn't actually mention it. But there's a couple things that let me know that this is Texas. So technically WTI has Texas in it, but that's really kind of a nationwide benchmark. I also know that there's nothing specific about these names that makes it a Texas name, but the API number is how I know specifically. I'm going to feel real silly if I reread this and see that the word, I have my Texas wells. But I don't see it there right now, but when you're live streaming, it's like it gives you partial blindness. I don't know if anyone of y'all know this, but it just makes you partially blind and you can't see things right in front of your face any longer. And it's just a thing. I think it's anytime you're sharing your screen, the same thing happens. If you've been on a Zoom call and suddenly like half your brain like turns off, that's what happens. I think it's well documented, but I don't see it. So, but I know it's Texas because specifically the API number, this is the second and third portion of the API number. So if I put a dash here, you can see this is the county code and this is the well code. And what you might be used to seeing is a 4.2 in front of this, or with no dashes, or even with dash 000, like that's another form of it. So this would be called the API 14 when you have all 14 digits. This is the API 12, API 10, just in case you see this around. If you don't, some states though, because they're using their state reporting site, figure that you know what state the well's in if you're on their site and they're reporting to you what their wells are. They figure they know what state it is, and the first two numbers are the state code. So 4.2 is Texas. Every state has its own code. So every state that starts with like 3.0 is one state. Every state that starts with 3.5 is another state. 4.2 is Texas, etc. Right? So I know it's Texas, but when we see just these numbers, then we know that it's being reported off of just a stateless number. And then I happen to know that this is what county this is. So now we have, boy, I'm going to really feel silly if this is actually New Mexico. How about that one? I'm going to just put it out there right now. Because, like I said, blowing a lie if you forget things. So I'm really hoping this is actually Texas. But, okay, so we're going to our site. And 1 second. Is anyone else on summer vacation yet, or in summer mode, or is it still winter where you are? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and switch over to this one. You'll be able to see all my secrets. Oh, and not see me again. There I am again. All right, and y'all are small again. There we go. Summer started an hour ago for you. Good, yep, nice. That would make more sense for someone to start on a Friday, but I guess they decided Thursday was our date. I'm celebrating with the coffee that was delivered, which is needed. Okay, so we have, this is our site, and we have, let's see. Yeah, okay. I'll be looking off to the side because that's where this monitor is, but I apologize. I'll move my microphone so that I'm not too quiet. But here's our site, and we can look in for wells, and let's say you don't know where these wells are. We're going to go to our tract from wells search. Okay, and we're going to just search for that well name. I think I have to be, well, we'll see. We'll see what, Jason, I'm testing it live. So hit and search. And all of these pink places on here are tracks that I have in my Pecan estimate here. And so we're searching. It's searching all through Texas for every single possible well. We can also switch to other states. I'm pretty sure this is. There we go. All right. See, I was not made a fool. It was Texas. Okay. So we have Upton County, and we have, if I zoom in, these are the drill idle wells. Well, they will be. They're not showing up on here, but they will be. And if we go to, I'm going to go ahead and create that tract. Drilly idle. Wonder what, okay. Does anyone know of what the story is behind Drilly idle? Oh, this is the area where they have the funny, okay. This, so Billy Idol, Drilly Idol. That's funny. There's an area of New Mexico I was looking at that, there's a whole bunch of funny names, and I think I might just make a whole episode of just funny well names. I was like, Drilly Idol, that has to be something. Okay. So go to well, okay, we'll just go to it this way. There. Yeah, well, we obviously have it in our system because it's showing up on here, but I'm not seeing it on the map here. Let's look at our well list. What I'm trying to do is just get to the link. So we have the link here. So we have them as drilled uncompleted wells. So duck drilled uncompleted. And that means that there's one that's been permitted, but possibly not drilled. I'm just going to search to the drilly wells. Because sometimes, and we'll sort by well name, because sometimes they end up re-drilling a well if it was permitted but not drilled. So 5504, I don't see that well anywhere else. You can also sort by API. If they re-drill the well, you'll see the same API normally, but with an 01 or something. The last 4 digits are usually on the completion itself. Okay, so they were all drilled. They were all spud. The last one, so spud means the day that the drill bit hit the dirt and started turning. And let me make sure y'all can still see what I'm doing. Yes, so they were all spud. So the last one, we could sort by spud date. So 3/12 was the last spud date. So that's very recently. So they're probably, looks like they're wrapping up this section then. We must not have the trajectory. So that trajectory is once the well is y'all can't see my hand. Once the well is spud and drilled, they start kicking off and they go off into the distance. So we just have the surface location right now. But we are getting the duck status from well database, and since this person said they have access to well database, they should be able to see that also. And then let's see. So if I go to, just go to one of these wells. Okay, so there, yeah, we just have the surface. That's what this green dot is here. But you might not be able to see, but it's this green dot right here is the surface location. So that's, if we were to look at satellite imagery of what this is, that's what we're looking at. And what I can do is, okay, I don't have my links open at the moment, but y'all don't have my links anyway, so I'll just open a new tab and show you where to go. So if we want to go to the Railroad Commission, and this public GIS viewer is the easiest one to work with, because then you can see things visually. When you search, you can search in this little search box here, and you want to search the API number without the first two numbers. So you don't want the 42, you just want to start with those other numbers. And that's why I was also guessing that this person knows this, because that's why they've been on the Railroad Commission site if they're providing API numbers without the first two numbers. So we're just gonna go straight to here and hit search, and I can show you some of the public data, like things that I'm aware of. Hi, Peg. Oh, it was deleted. That's fine. Okay. So if we go here, now we can see the well. So the Railroad Commission will connect the surface and the bottom hole location. So here's the surface location here. Can y'all see my mouse? So right here is the surface location, and then the well comes down. But it won't actually just be a straight line like this. It will actually be probably, I can pull open some more information on showing a little more about that. But if we go to drilling permits, make this bigger so I can look this way. So here's the drill permit and current queue. So it's yeah, I mean, they started drilling this one already. This is one of the ducks, I believe. And the reason I'm going to here is you can get to a couple other things through this menu. And also this menu here often has more information too. So normally there's a lot more on this, but I'm probably just, so you can get identify and wells. I would look at just wells, and then you can hit the little info button. Sorry, it's always smaller when I'm doing it this way. So, but yeah, so then when you're hovering over, you can see more of the details. But if I zoom in, I believe they want you to click the bottom hole location, but this shows the surface location where they're all going to be in a row like this. And if I were to switch to the satellite view, again, this is all public maps and this is provided by the state of Texas. So you can actually switch to the aerial view, but it's not an updated aerial view. So it's not going to have like what it actually looks like right there. But if you are local, you could drive out to that road and see what's happening there. You would see a bunch of something that looks more like I was seeing if any of these had updated aerial images, but I'm going to lose it if I go to it. So we'll show what it looks like later. But so here's all of the wells here, and I want you to click on the bottom hole location. So that's where the well head will be. So if you want to drill out, like drive out there, say that you're in the Midland area, or actually this is Upton, so maybe if you're in like the Crane area or whatever. Is Upton Odessa? Let's see. That's Ector. Ector County Coliseum is all that's how I remember where Odessa is. Okay, so they're very long wells. So they're going through the reservoir underground, so you're not going to see any of this well path here. But then right here is where that well ends. So that's where you get to more information. So this is the screen I was looking for. So here we have more status. Oh, look. Wall Street Journal's trying to talk to me again. I do like nuclear power in general, by the way. I'm pro-nuclear. It's just very difficult. It's a very difficult energy. So, okay. So here's where you can get to more of the information about what the Railroad Commission has on the well. So when they're drilling the well, they have to provide updates to the Railroad Commission. And so if we go to, and also sites like Well Database, Drilling Info, Enverus, IHS, S&P, like TGS, or what's it, TGS? Any of the sites that Novi, any of the sites that have access, Energy Domain, that have data that you can purchase, they're getting it from, primarily, they're getting it from the state websites, and they're scrubbing it and presenting it in nice ways, because, even just having to show how to get to it here, it's not the nicest. So here's the wellbore status so they're still having this one as just being a location, but you can get to well, I was looking for, I got to a little more information about this one. So once they have the filings like scanned and stuff, they'll be in this here. You'll be able to see more of the specific information about that well. There's a bunch of different places to look. So if we go to Railroad Commission, that just takes us back to the viewer. But if we go to the non-viewer, and we go to resources, we'll just go to, oil and gas. And research queries. This is where you can see more information. It takes a bit to get your head around what they're specifically asking, but each step of the way has a process where they have to file something, and it doesn't always make it to the well files right away, but let's see, wellbore query, well status report. Some of these, I don't actually go on that often, which is probably obvious by my fumbling around, but I'm trying to provide y'all easy, free ways that you can see this information. Let's see, if we go to the, no, I don't think this is actually, so like scout tickets, things, looking for words like scout tickets, looking for completions, looking for well status, the image records, that's where you'll find all of the things that they've scanned from earlier, so that all their microfilms, that's where they've scanned it and they've have it there. And that's also where eventually all of the files will end up for Texas. The production data query is where you can look up all of the, obviously the production reports. These are not producing yet, so that wouldn't help any. And then, I'll just look here. So here, if you were to type in, we can put in the APN number. So was it 461? Let's see what's on here. 46142. I'm clicking on my stream. Imagine that. Okay, then if we hit submit. Okay, no results found yet. So that just means it's not in their wellbore system. It's still being processed in there. So it's like a preliminary well still. And again, I'm still trying to click on my other screen. So I think the easiest way, I know that, so you do have well database, so we can go to well database and see what's on there. If we go back to explore, search. Now, I will say, like, our site also had, I have way too much stuff open. So our site has 504 is permitted. We're looking at 501B, I believe, right now, but we do have the status of all these, but we're just pulling it from other sites also. So I'm just trying to get to a more robust source. Now, we also have alerts, so it'll tell you if things change and when new wells are drilled on the property, and you can put what your interest is, and we can let you know what we think your interest is going to be. But again, I was trying to get multiple different options. Well, okay. Instead of dinking around too much on here. So I think if you were to search well database, you would find that it probably just says duck also. So I'm going to actually answer the second half of the question, and do I think that they'll be continue to be drilled? And that answer is yes. So it appears they started on all these wells with the current pricing. Will they continue? So yes, I do believe they will. So once it might get in their line. They might be tripping over themselves to complete the wells. But especially with it being the Midland Basin and being in the middle of such a valuable area, there's a lot of areas of the country that they're going to stop, pull back on first. And a lot of people have commitments that they have to make, like production commitments. So the production commitments would be like if they're a company that has investors and they're supposed to hit a certain volume, or if they have pipeline commitments and they need to hit a certain volume, or if they have requirements for their debtors that they have to have a certain amount of revenue. Like there's a lot of things that get in place in order for these short-term wells to need to come online. And the bigger the company, the more flexibility they have with that, but also the more insulated they are from these small changes. So not small changes, but I guess short-term changes in pricing. So I think that my guess would be that they would continue. Brittany Herrera, can you tell me if this is something I should sign? I'm a royalty interest. I am a RI. I've been asked to ratify a lease. I'm guessing royalty interest owner, and asked to ratify a lease. I have an image to show you. Brittany, if you could email it to, just email it to me. So Tracy@pecantreeog.com. So TRACY@pecantreeog, as in oil and gas.com. And I'll watch for it to come in if you want to email that, and then I can look at it here. Continue the drilling. So, like I said, I think most of them, all but one, have been drilled. And, I would expect once, they might not be super fast on completing, but the last one was just recently drilled. So usually they'll wait till all of them have been drilled. If they need to drill that one more permitted well, then it might still be another month or two before they're done drilling. But there is a lag in reporting also. So, you're probably looking at 6 months before all of them are completed, and then another 3 to 4 before the first payment comes in for those wells. So you won't get the division order on those likely until they've all been completed and they're ready to start and producing and they're ready to start paying. So you might still have 9 months or so before you hear anything from COG on these wells, but they should continue on. I might even earmark those for my own purposes just to watch them, and maybe I'll let you know, person who asked this question. Okay. Now, let's see. Okay, Brittany, I just got the ratification, so instead of going to the next one, I'll go ahead and hop over to that. And we'll look at it together. While I'm opening it up, I'll switch to this view so I don't accidentally show stuff I'm not supposed to show. Okay. Oh, nice diagram. Thank you for the diagram. Okay, I can show this. 1 second. Okay, so let me switch back to this one. All right. Technology. Brittany, let me know if this is what you like. I think this is what you meant to send. So this is, oh, more information. Thank you. I will. So it says, she says 2 owners and operators are in the blue area, and those 2 owners have said they do not want to pool, but they do want to pool our royalty interest in their section. Then I received a commingle lease document from the Railroad Commission about this. I also have that document. So this is apparently, if you talk about Railroad Commission, this is Texas also, I imagine. Because other states just don't call it that. So here we have, let's see, can y'all see my mouse? Yes. Now, can you see it when I do the special zooming in thingy? I don't think you can. Okay, so I won't do that. So this is an area outside of our royalty interest. 2 owners and operators want to drill in our area and pool our royalty interest in a new well there. They do not allow pooling in their lease, but they want us to ratify and pool our interest into their area. I can ask another operator in our area to pool, so not sure why they would ask. They can drill a directional well on their area. Our family royalty is in this area with the leases and wells. Dots are some other operators in our other wells and leases. Okay, so this orange area is their family's royalty interest. And okay, so for context, pooling is where in order to drill a well that is going to drain something bigger than the amount that one person owns, they put all a bunch of different ownership together, and it's kind of like having a subdivision. It lets you share costs, or not share costs, but like it lets you distribute it across a bigger area, and a lot of times it's necessary. Like you just can't fit that well in a smaller lease, and so they put a whole bunch of leases together, and they make it to where everyone in there gets equal amounts, like based on how much they're putting in. So it'd be like if what's a good example? I mean, I always go to like an actual pool as an example. If everybody was filling a pool with their amount of their bucket, and their bucket is their ownership, once it's blended together, it's you can't tell whose is whose. You just say, okay, well, I threw in 8 buckets. Well, I threw in 2 buckets. Okay, well, I get 8/10 of every dollar. Well, I get 2/10 of every dollar, and that's how it gets distributed. And then everyone's individual lease does then play into it, but what they're asking, because once the lease is in place, it says whether or not pooling is allowed. So it sounds like this person's lease does not allow pooling, and the operator is trying to get them to ratify allowing of pooling. So does this well drain your acre? I mean, I imagine it must drain your acreage. Generally, I'm in favor of pooling. I'll just put that out there. I typically find that pooling is not a bad thing for owners. It kind of it almost reduces your risk. So if you think about owning a single stock, a whole bunch of one single stock, that's kind of how owning one little tract of land is like. And then when you pool, it's almost like you're able to distribute that across more area. So I'm gonna move chat to where we'll do here. Okay. Our section, there are more wells, not just an example of those 2 wells. But those two people in the blue are experienced. They're involved in many oil and gas things. They want to use our wells, though. They're not part of our section, so would it be better to ask the operator to work with someone else? Or do I have another option here? I saw this on the railroad info, and they have some issue and tried to correct it. Okay, so they said it's not horizontal, but it's directional. Okay. The difference between directional and horizontal for anyone watching this is a horizontal well is they go down and they drill, and while they are sideways, they are draining from the reservoir. While a directional well, they're using the angle of the well to get to a point that's just not below the surface, and then they drain from that point. So, I mean, you hit the reservoir at an angle, which is beneficial, but you're not draining the entire directional as you would be with a horizontal. So horizontal, normally you go straight down and then you curve and start draining from the entire way. And so this is that they're trying to reach something that is not directly underneath where the surface location is. So this operator is an operator on other of our wells in this particular section. Okay. Okay. I think I'm gathering. So they're wanting to use your well on something that they're not part of and pool your stuff into something that they're part of in order to make it to where they can use your well easier. I think that's what I'm gathering. And we don't want to pool more than we do as well. Yeah, so there comes the downside of pooling is that it dilutes your interest, and if you're being diluted into an area that is more developed than what your area is, and then they're adding development, then you're diluting your interest down, basically. But if you're being pooled in, like, either if it's a whole bunch of undeveloped area and everyone's kind of equally developed maybe, and you're being pulled together with, like, kind of like brought up, like your particular parcel is mostly drilled, but you're being pooled together with more acreage that is less developed, then you get access to more future reserves. So usually it's beneficial, and I say this only because it gives the operators more options and flexibility, and that makes it more likely for your acreage to be developed. When it's not beneficial would be if there's a lot of options and they're choosing the one that kind of hoses you the most, like the one that gives them the most benefits from it, and they could be choosing an option that is more beneficial to you, but they're kind of just like sneaking around it and not. And it's hard to provide. I mean, I know a lot of this is very abstract things I'm saying, but yeah, it's kind of hard to say, like, without seeing an exact example. Usually using an older wellbore and targeting something directionally means that they wouldn't be able to afford to do this otherwise. So they're probably targeting something that is like a creative way to make it economic to produce this particular zone. And that creativity is making it economic enough for them to prioritize doing it right now. And that priority, and then this is usually why I say pooling's not bad overall, because if all the schedules were the same, yeah, you'd want more interest in your smaller parcel. But if you're able to get more production on your pooled property than you would on your unpooled property, then you end up winning overall. And so if this makes it more likely for you to receive more royalties, okay, I can understand that. I will rephrase, she says. Yeah, no, I totally appreciate that this is a very difficult thing to YouTube chat, and it's pooling and ratifications are very complicated things in general. So I will say when I normally see ratifications, it's usually they're trying to do something that it's either an oopsie daisy that they're trying to get, covered just in case. Ooh, I'm shaking the table again, making it earthquake over there. Y'all are not going crazy. That is happening on the YouTube video. Yeah, so that's either an oopsie daisy that they're trying to cover with a ratification to make sure they don't accidentally lose the lease, or like they're not sure if they have the lease or the ability to do something, and they're trying to get you to say, yes, you do for sure have the right to do this. So, and a lot of times it's gray, and they're having you ratify it for a reason. Like they know it's gray, and hey, let's just try to work together instead of like battling it out or trying to release things or, okay, so where are the pooling reflags for us to see when it could be wrong? Ratification red flags. Ratification red flags. I think any ratification that's saying that regardless of if this lease expired or not, we're certifying that it has not expired. That would be one that I would want to look into a little closer. Most of the time whenever I see this, it's because the lease probably did expire and they would have to release it, which would mean paying you a new bonus and negotiating a new royalty rate, and they're not wanting to do that. And so that'd be one red flag. Not red flag. So they are not pooling, so why should we? The alternative to I think I'd have to see an image of that one to know how one party could not pool and the other party would pool. My brain doesn't compute that one just on the fly, because from how I'm imagining it, anyone involved, like that's the point of a pooling, is you're putting a circle around certain lands and saying all of y'all are in a pooled unit now, and anything that happens on this pooled unit benefits all people within this pooled unit. So I think I'd have to dig a little more into that one. Maybe you can email me the specifics and then I can look at it, and then we'll do a part 2 just following up as to what, we can still keep it as anonymous as you'd like, but we can just do a quick follow-up next week, and this could be like a cliffhanger for anyone following along. I'm guessing because we are royalty interest owners and they may be mineral owners. So the mineral owners aren't being pooled, but the royalty interest owners are? That still doesn't compute off the top of my head how that would work. So, and typically the difference between a royalty, so when you say you're a royalty interest owner, is it an overriding royalty interest or a royalty interest, like a flat out, like you have a deeded royalty interest to certain lands, but it's not it's not tied to a certain lease. It's just a straight up royalty. But then you wouldn't be able to ratify the lease then. Never mind, that doesn't make sense. The owner of the, okay, yeah, I think this one might be beyond my ability to answer via YouTube chat, but I am curious now, so I would really like to follow up afterwards. Yeah, if you could email me just a little more, like even the details on which wells and which, then I could look at the permits and poolings and all those things and pull that up. And then I'll follow up next week on what exactly is happening for anyone watching this going like, what the heck are they talking about? Because I have no idea what a pooling or a ratification even is. So this is one of those complicated, like you don't know it until you have to know it situations. So I think that's the best way to handle this one because I am wanting to know more, but okay. Well, we've gone for an hour. I think I have some projects I still have to get to this week. Let me check if there's any chats I've gotten from my team, my awesome team. Let's see. I don't see any chats there. Let's see if I got any emailed questions. Nope, not seeing anything there. Yeah. Okay, well, with that, we will hear more from Brittany over the week, and stay tuned for next week's Office Hours Live. We will cover what is happening with the situation. And feel free to email your questions to Kelly at PecanTrioG. Actually, no, wait. Don't email them to Kelly. She's going to be out of town. Email them to Tracy at PecanTrioG.com if you need to email a question specifically. And if you do, I will prioritize your question because I will actually get it. I'm sure Kelly will probably forward me anything that she gets even while on vacation. But thank you, Kelly, for everything you do. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thanks for tuning in. And I will see y'all next week. All right.